Hey everybody, welcome back to the channel. We are back on another episode of Daily Palantir. Today we got a jam-packed show. Number one, Cathie Wood buys 1.5 million shares of Palantir. So we're going to be talking about that, some of the logic, why she bought, and ultimately how I think Palantir is playing out in terms of being one of the top stocks in our fund over time. Number two, Palantir makes a statement again on Israel today. I'll talk about the statement that they made, and it's a pretty bold thing that they've said outside of their constant support for Israel. So we're going to be talking about that. And then third, we got a new $40 million partnership, Palantir and a company in Japan. A lot to talk about. Let's get into it. Okay, first thing I want to talk about is, of course, stock price real quick, just to make sure we cover that here. Stock is at 1722. It was up 0.53% of the day. I did buy another 20 shares at 1721. So again, I am waiting for 15 for a very big buy. Maybe I get there. Maybe I don't. We'll see what happens. But for now, 1722 nibbling here and there, I think it's fine. In general, macro was pretty good today. Nothing too crazy in the broader stock market. We had some decent job numbers come out. So Palantir stayed pretty flat, which is okay. We didn't get a dramatic decline. We didn't get a lot of dramatic upside. If we can stay in this range or start heading higher, that would be nice. If we go lower, then a dip opportunity will be presenting itself. So nothing too crazy outside of the fact that Palantir is flat for the day. All right, let's get to a big story that happened yesterday. Cathie Wood ended up buying the stock. Here we go. Cathie Wood adds 1.5 million shares of Palantir, 1,578,738 to be exact. Palantir was down 14% this week, fell 6% yesterday, and this was her first buy in over 2 months. The last time she bought was at 1480 when Palantir fell 10% in a day. So she hasn't bought in a couple of months now. As you can see, the RKK fund, flagship fund, 1,200,778 shares. In the ARK FinTech fund, 145,910. Palantir definitely has some role in the fintech space, banking and stuff. They have clients like UBS and RBC. Not sure exactly if it's a fintech, but she thinks that it deserves to be in the fintech fund. And then ARK W Next Generation Internet, another 232,050 shares of Palantir. Why did Cathie buy the dip? Cathie Wood did a podcast with Shyam Sankar that we covered a while ago, where Shyam was basically walking her through the logic of what large language models are going to do to society, how it's going to be a new form of compute, and ultimately what software companies are going to be able to capitalize on the opportunity in the distribution of operationalizing AI throughout the entire enterprise. I think Cathie in that podcast, it was genuine that she felt she had a better understanding of Palantir than she did when she exited the stock. 37 million shares she sold in February 2022, $12, lost $400 million, put it into Roku and Zoom and stuff like that. If she had just doubled down on Palantir, granted we fell down to 6, then, maybe she would have done better. But in general, I don't think she understood the company, and their logic for divesting their stake back then was that they felt there was too much competition in the government sector and that private entities were going to be able to procure more contracts versus Palantir. That has seemed to change. Palantir has gotten a lot of government contracts. Palantir has been able to obviously work with Ukraine. They're working in Israel. They're pretty central to the upcoming necessity, I think, that NATO countries have to be able to protect their sovereignty. They're waking up, given everything that's happening geopolitically across the world. So as a result of that, the government thesis, I think, is broadly in check, which means now the commercialization of AI and large language models via AIP is really the bull case. And Cathie in that podcast seemed to understand it. So I expected another buy eventually. You get a 14% dip in a couple of days, you're probably going to get a fund that is very bullish on the name start to buy the dip. So if it's good enough for Cathie to buy, that doesn't mean that it's the best price, but it does mean that if it's a top stock in her fund, or it's not one of the top 10 positions, but she wants it eventually to be top 10. We'll see if she keeps buying and if she keeps adding to the portfolio. She would probably want to get it while it's at a lower price than buying it at 21, 22. And if she thinks it's going to get back to those levels, then buying it at 17 is not the worst price in the world for her. So Cathie buys the dip. It's been a while since she bought the dip. It's always a big thing when Cathie buys because we get a lot more name recognition. Palantir was flat today. We'll see if she ends up buying. I'll talk about it tomorrow. But yeah, Cathie's back in 1.5 million shares for the day. Okay, next thing we got to talk about is a piece of news that Palantir put out today. This was really interesting. So let's read the tweet that they put out. A lot of positive reception to this, but let's see what they had to say. We at Palantir have been committed to defending the principles that make democratic rule possible since our founding 2 decades ago. Our software embodies our values and commitments. These include high performance, efficiency, transparency, fairness, and a rejection of narrow thinking, including fear and skepticism of the other and outright bigotry. We believe that these values must be backed by actions on the battlefield, intellectual and otherwise, given the egregious levels of anti-Semitism in our society, especially at our most elite educational institutions. Some of these organizations have seem structurally incapable of taking any steps to reform themselves. Students on campuses are terrified and have been instructed by administrators to hide their Judaism. We are launching an initiative for students who because of anti-Semitism, fear for their safety on campus and need to seek refuge outside of traditional establishments of higher education. They are welcome to join Palantir, and we are setting aside 180 positions for them immediately. More details to follow shortly. This was really interesting to see today. And the reason they came out with this news in the first place is because there was a Bill Ackman video that went viral. When I mean viral, I mean this video got, how many views is it at? 100 million views. A lot of people saw this video. I'm not going to play the video, but essentially it's Bill Ackman, or it's a representative in Congress asking the heads of MIT, UPenn, and Harvard of if saying that Jews, we should have a genocide on Jewish people, is that hate speech or not? Does that go against the code of harassment in the university? And all three deans of those colleges, they like tiptoed around just saying, yes, that's bad. And it was just so egregious seeing them like try to justify that, like, if in a certain context or whatever, that it led a lot of Palantir officials on Twitter, Ted Marbury, global head of commercial, a couple of other people, quote tweeting that video saying, I cannot believe what's going on right now. Bill Ackman, obviously infuriated, a Harvard alum, and he's just like, who the hell is running this organization? So the elite institutions of the United States of America are kind of indoctrinating this idea from the top down that it's okay to say these things given certain context. And for Palantir, they are thinking that this is blatant anti-Semitism. And as a result of that, they're taking a stance. 2 points of analysis here. I think, one, they were the first public company to go out and immediately say they support Israel and they stand with them. Palantir, Anduril, and North Grumman Group are the only three companies that I understand it publicly, and Anduril is not public, but like that have legitimately come out as defense contractors and said, we stand with Israel. The other, companies that are out there have tiptoed around the issue because they don't want to upset other parties that are involved, and so they've kind of stayed a bit neutral on this. Palantir making this statement today, given that they were one of the first companies to do this, I think is only reaffirming their support for Israel and for some of the things that are going on in the United States, especially in regards to anti-Semitism. And given a lot of people who work at Palantir are people that are from elite universities, right? Palantir hires some of the best people in the world. I think they felt a personal connection to the fact that, like, why is the elite universities that are hiring the kids that we want to work at our company, the heads of the deans of those colleges are acting in this way. So 180 positions are reserved. What does that actually mean? I have no idea. I don't know if these are software engineering roles, marketing roles, whatever it means. I do know that they're trying to basically create an argument philosophically that, look, if you don't feel welcome at these institutions because you don't think they're serving you, you can work at Palantir where you will be vigorously challenged, you will be intellectually stimulated, and you will have an opportunity to grow and learn, which is the whole point of colleges and universities, right? To spend 4 years and grow and learn. Very similar kind of to the Peter Thiel Fellowship, where he gave, I think this started a couple years ago, where he said, hey, if you don't want to go to college, but you're a bright young individual, here's $100,000 to go build a startup, go build something, and take this $100,000, take this funding instead of giving $100,000 to Harvard and like go do something in the world versus be stuck in a college room all day. So it's actually kind of derivative off that idea, and it makes sense. I don't know if Peter came up with this idea or they thought of it, but the culture of Palantir is around this idea of like, hey, how do we think of doing stuff outside of the box and then be public about it with unwavering support? One other thing I wanted to show about this, good friend Vitaly, we do a podcast called Finance Junkies. He sold out of his Palantir a year ago. He just didn't really believe in the AI narrative, all that stuff. He's more into a company called Enphase. He said, dang, Carp might have got me back. This may be the tweet that makes me a Palantir investor. Vitaly is Jewish, and he has very strong opinions of things that are going on. So I said, given I know Vitaly, he's not kidding here. He's never cared for the tech, their role in the AI revolution, etc. But like many investors, he does care about anti-Semitism. Taking a public stance is what every company is afraid to do. Palantir's unrelenting stance on this topic just might be what makes the public more excited to invest and support their mission. And this piggybacks off this that I put out today. So remember that video I showed you guys that got 1 million views that got at the time 500,000 views because it got retweeted by Bill Ackman. This was Carp basically talking about what's going on in the world and how people are out of touch with reality. That video got retweeted by Mike Solana, who's the chief marketing officer at Founders Fund, which is Peter Thiel's VC fund, and it got retweeted by Barry Weiss, which is the editor-in-chief of the Free Public, which she has 1 million followers. So this video went insanely viral. Now this video has 1 million views. Up from 500,000, which is not easy to do on an organic video on Twitter, right? Like getting 1 million views is a tough thing to do. And so, I made an argument here that this matters to you as an investor because while I don't see many CEOs say something controversial who are running a tech company under $100 billion market cap, yet being so unique and eccentric with their communication style that a video of them can go viral to the tune of 1 million people. So not a lot of people say controversial things if you're in this situation that Carp's in. But if you do say it and you're able to say it in an interesting way, it can attract 1 million people. Did the retweets from some of these bigger accounts help? Yes. But the reason the algorithms made the content go viral is because people were watching the content. And so the algorithms were like, this is engaging content. Let's show it to more people. And then it just takes off from there. So to me, it means that Karp is always and has been the right guy to steer the ship, and random people get excited when he speaks. Hence the necessity for them to follow the account called Palantir Daily and learn more about the company. We got 800 followers on this account, which is essentially just a media company covering Palantir, over the past 4 days. Hundreds of comments under the post were either "this is why I love Palantir" or "I like this guy and want to hear more," implying that new people that never discovered Palantir are now learning about what it is. So it's not about the video hitting 1 million views. It's about Karp's message and communication style being strong enough to actually capture 1 million people's attention. And this is why Palantir is special. In my opinion, Elon captured the everyday person to be excited about Tesla in some way. I believe in the new geopolitical landscape with people tired of the nonsense we are seeing attacking Western values. Alex Karp will get the everyday person to care about Palantir the way Elon Musk has gotten the everyday person to care about Tesla, whether it's a use of climate change or EVs, whatever argument he makes to get people's attention. That is the type of marketing you can't manufacture. You actually have to believe in your message enough so that when you communicate it, 1 million people might actually be interested in what you have to say. And so, look, as a result of that, I think some investors might be afraid Palantir is being so public and strong about this. I think on the flip side, a lot of investors will be happy that they stand for something, that they actually have a morals and values and mission statement, that they're not just saying it in their company's website, and that they're putting their money where their mouth is, and they're trying to provide a space for people that have been targets of anti-Semitism and want them to join the company where they will be rigorously challenged and put in a place that is for the most elite people in the world when it comes to working at Palantir. You have to go through 8 interviews. It's not easy. And some of those people that are not feeling challenges at these elite universities have a role at Palantir. So I think it's a good move by Palantir, and I think investors are also going to agree with that in the long term. All right, last thing we got today is a new partnership by Palantir and Fujitsu Japan. This is a partnership that they had a while ago, so they've been working together for a while. Today, this came out that Fujitsu and Palantir strengthened strategic partnership to solve societal challenges and accelerate business transformation globally. So I think they've been working together since 2020, from what I understand. But now here's a new sort of extension of their partnership that they're working on today. Fujitsu and Palantir initially entered a strategic collaboration to strengthen the digital transformation sector in the Japanese market in June 2020. Since then, they have been Palantir's Japan exclusive flagship technology partner and helping customers achieve digital transformation in the manufacturing, utility, and financial services sector. As a strategic alliance partner, Fujitsu will expand the scope of this collaboration beyond the Japan market to North America, Europe, and Asia Pacific. The partnership will leverage Fujitsu's know-how developed through in-house implementation and case studies for customers in Japan, and Fujitsu and Palantir extensive customer base in the global markets, which is really, really interesting. Essentially, Fujitsu is a company in Japan that allows strategic transformations and technology consulting for their clients. And so they obviously use Palantir software to help them be able to build a lot of the solutions that they implement for different clients in Japan. So I'm not going to read through the entire press release, but this part I think was really interesting. Fujitsu will develop a services that incorporates the capabilities of Palantir Foundry, which integrates and manages large-scale data distributed across various systems into the data infrastructure for Fujitsu Uvance, which is their technology platform. Palantir AIP, which securely activates LLMs and other AI on customers' private networks, will also be integrated and provided to customers. This will empower customers to connect and leverage processing data that are fragmented across organizations and enterprises and invigorate cross-industry collaboration to provide unprecedented solutions and insights. Fujitsu will first work to deliver services in the ESG management and SCM areas that contribute to solving societal issues and business transformation and gradually expand the target areas. So I will put the link in the description so you can read some of the quotes, but I thought this was really important because essentially at the end of the day, Fujitsu and Palantir already were working in 2020. That's when their strategic collaboration with Palantir Japan started. Fujitsu, a technology consulting firm working with their technology to build digital transformation solutions for clients via Palantir's Foundry, the ontology, helping integrate all that stuff. Now AIP is unlocking massive amounts of value with these LLMs on top of that ontology. So to me, this is another example of the upsell working around clients that are already using Palantir's Foundry, clients that in this case are consulting with other clients that are using their proprietary technology platforms with Palantir's Foundry and saying, hey, you need large language models, and you need those large language models to actually be effective. Here's AIP, which is Palantir's new thing that's already integrated with the ontology that we built for you. Now let's unlock even more value. So to me, this is actually a really, really good deal. I like that it's happening international. So this is an international commercial deal. We need a lot more international commercial deals because we haven't had some in a long time. Or we've had some, but they just haven't been growing as much as the United States commercial business has been growing. And it's AIP, which means it's showing that existing clients are seeing the value in implementing AIP across their entire network of platforms. This is another sales distribution mechanism for Palantir since Fujitsu has a ton of different clients. And so, all in all, a really good deal. I believe this is a $40 million extension, and it helps Palantir grow more in the commercial sector internationally. All right, that's it for me. Thank you guys so much for listening and watching. Please make sure to subscribe to dailypalantir.com/subscribe. For those that haven't subscribed at all, would really appreciate it if you check out the newsletter, because I do one every day, and I think a lot of people have been enjoying it. So if you are a Palantir investor, dailypalantir.com/subscribe. It's free. Make sure you subscribe. Thank you all for listening and watching. I'll see you in the next one.